This is a special report from ABC News Digital.
Hello, I'm Dan Klepler in New York with this ABC News Digital special report. Tech geeks taking over Las Vegas for the International Consumer Electronics Show, the world's gathering place for innovators and breakthrough technologies for more than 40 years. And here to give us a look at what's going on in Vegas there, Lena Rao, senior editor at TechCrunch. Lena, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what's the big theme this year?
I mean, it's always a big scene, but of course, sometimes there's a few different, issues, circumstances that cause more waves. Yesterday, the kind of big new insidery news was producer director Michael Bay's presentation for the Samsung event, where he kind of just got really flustered and just walked off the stage. It was a huge surprise for the audience and for everyone, just considering, he's in the entertainment industry, and he just got so flustered during this presentation around their, new curved, more powerful televisions. But, it certainly caused a lot of ripples both at CES and then also on the internet afterwards.
Well, I want to play actually what happened. Let's listen.
What I try to do is, as a director, I try to. The type is all off. Sorry, but I'll just wing this.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah, we'll wing it right now. I try to take people on an emotional ride, and
The curve. How do you think it's going to impact how viewers experience your movies?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Michael Bay for joining us.
So having been victim of live television and any kind of live performance before, Lena, I'm sure you can certainly appreciate the fact that when something doesn't go quite as scripted, you can panic and set in. But he stormed off pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously he must have had a little bit of stage fright. It's just surprising considering, he's made some sort of iconic Hollywood films like Transformers, and it certainly wasn't expected that someone in that industry would get up there and have stage fright. But he actually issued an apology afterwards and wrote online that he just felt like overwhelmed, and the script went off and he just didn't know what to do in that moment. So that certainly was something that's been making waves in Vegas this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna break journalistic barriers right here and say that I'm gonna give him a pass on this, because again, knowing when something like this happens, it can be a fight or flight response. There are really only one way to go. So obviously CES is showcasing more than 3,200 exhibitors. It's 152,000 people are there. 150 countries participate. How do you make your way around a venue like this?
Yeah, it's extremely overwhelming. Comfortable shoes for sure. That's the key, and lots of water. But it is overwhelming. But I guess us as the media are in our charge to kind of break it down for you. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of fascinating new technologies, some that are a little bit bizarre, but I think it's been a really good year so far.
What are the bizarre ones?
I saw this sort of wireless connected toothbrush, which, of course, like now in this Internet of Things, everything is connected. And I'm just not sure if we need to have a connected toothbrush per se. That was a little bit odd. That may cross some barriers. There was also another sort of new device called the Sense Mother, which basically is this almost like little doll that sits in your home and basically creates a motion Internet of Things in your home. So you can attach these sensors to other items in your home, and it will sense whether things are moving and sort of temperatures and things like that. I think it's a little bit more advanced for us right now. I wouldn't expect it to hit any Best Buy stores and become a bestseller right now. But even amongst some of the bizarre, there's some really useful things. There's a new bracelet that's come out called the Tatmo June bracelet, and it monitors UV rays and basically will monitor tanning. It's of course, a connected device that's strapped around your wrist, and that could actually be very, very useful and certainly have health benefits as well.
Well, and I wanted to ask you about that. Was there anything else that you had seen? Because obviously a wireless toothbrush might be on the extreme end of usefulness. But what about those that are actually going to have a practical application that we, in fact, might see in the marketplace in the near future?
Yeah, one actually, in the sea of smartwatches, one of the first companies to really put their name out there, a smaller company, the Pebble, they debuted a new product called the Pebble Steel, which essentially looks like a normal, like fashionable watch, but has this like really, really high-powered capabilities of a wearable, of a smartwatch. And I really think it's going to push at the forefront of what smartwatches are. They're not just these sort of gadgets you place on your wrist, but they're actually seamless, fashionable, well-designed pieces of jewelry that kind of assimilate with everything else that you wear. And I think that's going to be a really, really popular product this year and certainly in years to come.
And not just watches or like small gadgets and gizmos like that as well, but Toyota making headlines with their unveiling about a hydrogen fuel car.
Yeah, and it's they're saying it's going to come out in the next year in California first, if I'm correct. It's kind of amazing, and certainly other car makers are now sort of joining in the fray to say that they're going to be launching their own hydrogen cars as well. I think this is going to be a huge push in the market for sustainability, and so that's definitely monumental. And you mentioned also larger gadgets. I mean, this has also been another big year for TVs. Lots of more high resolution curved screens are back again this year, but they're back. They debuted last year, and now they're back again this year. So I think it's going to be more of a reality for television watchers this year.
And lastly, Lena, before we let you go, TiVo also out with something new.
Yeah, so they've, created a much more powerful, more intensive, higher storage unit. But, what's interesting about it is it really has a lot of connected capabilities. So, it's a more connected DVR that they're going to approach, cable companies with. And, some of the benefits that could pass on to the consumers are things like being able to just buy additional storage on your DVR unit, just with a click of a button, or, downloading a particular program to the cloud, and basically making a more nimble hardware and software package in a smaller unit.
Lena, let me ask you, and I promise this will be the last question because I don't want you to storm, I don't want you to pull a bay on me. But, oftentimes we see these kinds of new technologies or these new gadgets that are coming out there that are meeting needs that we necessarily didn't know that we had in the first place. But as you're talking to other people that are out there, other media or other industry insiders that are kind of seeing what's out there on the landscape, is there anything that isn't being addressed, any kind of immediate pressing need that these developers seem to be ignoring?
I think it's funny, in this world of connected devices, everyone's focusing on the wearable, right? Everyone's focusing on, kind of creating more and more wearables, like LG and a number of others have kind of thrown their hat into the wearable field. I think that some of these manufacturers and electronics, developers need to think about beyond the wearable. Maybe it's different sensors, maybe it's at a different point on the body, maybe it's an embeddable in the actual body. I think that we're focusing a little too much on the wearable and need to think beyond that right now.
Right, exactly. And sometimes it's very difficult to go by that rule that sometimes we need to separate ourselves from the technology on occasion.
Yeah, for sure.
Lena Rowe from TechCrunch. Lena, thank you so much. Enjoy your time out there. We appreciate your insight. Of course, for the latest on CES 2014, stay right here on abcnews.com. For now, I'm Dan Klapsler in New York with this ABC News Digital Special Report.